Okay, Matthew, wide receiver position, loaded. We'll
Stacked.
start Xavier Worthy, 60 catches, 9 touchdown. Uh, Jatavian Sanders is a guy that I got familiar with early in the season. Uh, Presented headaches to the Alabama secondary. He seems to be a guy that has pretty much unlimited ceiling as well.
Yeah, he actually kind of reminds me of a smaller version of Darnell Washington at Georgia, honestly. Athletic, huge. I think he's like 6'4", 230. Not as big as Darnell Washington. That guy's ginormous. But I mean, his potential was finally unlocked, and it's because he got playing time. He didn't play much if at all his freshman year. Played great his sophomore year. He was the number one athlete coming out when he came out of high school. He was a great defensive end. He wanted to play tight end, though, because he played tight end in high school. And like you see those numbers up there, 54 receptions, 613 yards, 5 touchdowns. The guy was phenomenal last year. I expect him to be around the 65 to 70 reception mark this year and probably 800 yards receiving. I think he's that good. I think he can be the number one tight end off the board in the NFL draft when he comes out.
Yeah, so Xavier Worthy, the rest of the guys kind of give us a feel for the way they probably set up 1 through whatever.
Yeah, 100%. You got Xavier Worthy. People forget Isaiah Nayer from Wyoming last year. Big play threat, big guy, 6'3" guy. He would have got drafted if he stayed healthy and probably played. He probably would have played at Texas for 1 year. He comes back from injury. I don't know exactly when we expect him back. I haven't heard much of that, but he's a very good player. You have Brennan Thompson, who's going to be in a sophomore season, track star, very fast. You have Jordan Whittington, who's coming back for his 6th season. Do it all type of guy. He's a third down threat. Like that's where we use him, is just to move the chains along. Then you have A.D. Mitchell from Georgia, another like slashing guy, kind of like Xavier Worthy, bringing him in. I mean, this wide receiving room is loaded and it's one of the 5 best in the country. I really think it's hard for me as a Texas fan with all this returning on offense if we're not a top 5 offense. We have to be. We have the quarterback, we have the running backs, we have the offensive line, we have the wide receivers. There's no reason this should not be a top 5 offense, especially if you believe in Steve Sarkisian like most people do about his mind on the offensive side of the ball.
One more go in the Big 12 for Texas. Do you have any thoughts about that date finally moving up to 2024? That's something that I've anticipated forever,
Yeah.
but the talks stalled, but they finally made it work.
Yeah, that was never going to be. I mean, this would have been the longest breakup in the history of breakups, a 4-year type breakup. It was never going to happen. This was always going to be after this season. We're going to go to the SEC. It's going to be interesting. I wish we would have. I'm from Ohio. I wish we would have played Cincinnati so I could go to that game. Unfortunately, it makes sense who we were scheduled with BYU and Houston. You know, Houston's right down there. They're going to get probably a shot at us for the first time in a while. It'll be interesting because a lot of those guys feel probably rejected by the University of Texas. They're like mid 3-star, high 3-star recruits that they didn't either get an offer from Texas or they didn't want to be there. So that'll be an interesting game. And then BYU, it's funny, they joined the conference and they're going to be the only team, no matter what happens, that'll have a winning record versus Texas in the Big 12. Only team ever. So that will be nice when we play them.
It's 2-0, right?
Yeah, Taysom Hill. Yeah, don't remind me of him.
Yeah,
running for 700
years ago. Yeah, home and home. Yeah,
running for like 700 yards in 2 games. Yeah, not fun. So it'll be interesting when we play them this year. It'll be no Taysom Hill, thank God for that. But they're still a pretty good team.
Texas, boy, it should be interesting to see what they put together on offense in particular this season. And of course, they need to get that quarterback situation straightened out. Quinn Ewers more consistent. That starts with winter workouts and on into the spring. That starts on March 6th. No, March 22nd. March 22nd for Texas in Austin. Matthew, we appreciate you stopping by. Would love to have you back to break down the defense.
100%, Mark. I'd love to come back. I love talking about Texas football.